Hello everyone, Wenzeltron here, and we're back on Heroes of the Storm PTR this time. So, what I want to do in this video is talk about the Leoric changes. As you all know already, I'm a big fan of Leoric, and PTR is historically annoying to deal with because of the small population, and just because everyone wants to play the new hero, there's not much they can... you're going to be playing against a variety of heroes, so you can't really get a good view on what the hero is like. So in this video, we're just going to go over a quick talent update of Leoric and just like what he is being changed to, and then my impressions of that and what build I'm going to probably work with, but I think he has a lot of different things going on for him. So without further ado, time to go over this Leoric rework. Alright everybody, changing my screen, bam, there we go. We have the first hero to have a basic attack pattern. So as you can see, first two basic attacks here do a cleave, and then the third one also with an indicator, and your mace glows amazingly awesome to do a crit damage for 100% overhead swing. It's going to make Leoric more incentivized to be fighting an enemy hero inside of the minion wave rather than landing just your W. Other than that, this ties into Skeletal Swing. It now has a 14-second cooldown instead of, I think, 8 currently on live server. And also the cooldown and mana cost will be refunded by 50% when you hit a hero. So now you're going to be incentivized to use this on heroes rather than using it on only minion waves. And now, for the next one is the Drain Hope. So Drain Hope has been reduced to only 20% of the damage, and healing Leoric for up to 20% of his HP. This is a 5% reduction, and I think the cooldown is moved down a little bit as well. So basically what this means is you won't be healing for as much with your Drain Hope active. And finally, Wraith Walk, I don't think received any changes at all. It is still the creepy walk where you leave your body, leaving it behind, and then you become a ghost. Pretty straightforward on his stuff there. The biggest change is his auto attack pattern, which I think is really cool. And now for his talents. So first talent tier is your sustain tier. Most of these talents have been moved from other tiers or just slightly reworked. So the first one is Consume Vitality. Your Skeletal Swing is reduced by 2 seconds, and enemy heroes heal Leoric, for 4% of his max HP. So this makes it something into more of a team fight oriented hero, and you get more time to land your Qs. I do think this will synergize well if you do the Wraith Walk build. And then next one is Fealty Unto Death. The one thing to note here is that it's friendly minions and enemy minions. It's both of them. So that actually gives you quite a bit of sustain in the lane. And it heals you for 1% mana or health, and then 5 mana, not 1% mana. And then the last one is a reworked Ocean Renewal. So this is a 120-second cooldown that is used to activate a 30% of your max health over 5 seconds, and then regen globes reduce this cooldown by 20. So that is, you need 6 regen globes to reset it completely. So basically this one I think is more for a burst, if you're taking a lot of burst damage, whereas Fealty Unto Death is more if you're just fighting in lane. I think, so this will benefit you more in the early game, whereas this kind of benefits, I would say, early game as well, because you're not going to be getting as many regen globes into the late game either. So, I don't know. I'm going to have to try these out and figure out which ones. I think for the most part, Fealty Unto Death is probably the go-to. So for level 4, Ghostly Reach, this is, I think, the same talent, hasn't been moved or anything or changed. It just increases your range on Skeletal Swing by 25%. So Skeletal Swing is a semicircle like so. And then if I switch it, we have a Skeletal Swing that now is much wider. Nothing too crazy there. Reset the talents one more time.
Choose a talent.
Paralyzing Rage, this used to be a level 7 talent, now is level 4. It increases your slow on your Q by 20% more, so this is a 60% slow. So that's nothing new there. And then the last talent is Kneel Peasants. Your Skeletal Swing deals 75% more damage to minions and mercenaries. So just judging by these two, they're much better, especially with the increased slow. Kneel Peasants doesn't really have as much bang for its buck compared to the other ones. If you're going to be doing the Skeletal Swing here, you'd probably want to go Skeletal Swing range here as well. But if you're just going for a normal build to just provide more utility for your team, Paralyzing Rage is what I would go for. Now, this is the Drain Hope tier. So like the first 3 talents, Sustain tier, Q tier, W tier. It's pretty cool. Kind of get to pick a talent that's incentivizing you to buff a particular aspect of your kit. I like this direction. And now, Willing Vessel, so this increases the healing of your Drain Hope to 25%, the old cap that it is currently on live servers, and then if it heals for the entire duration, it will get 5% of your health back instantaneously. Next is Draining Momentum. Drain Hope no longer has a slow, so you're slowed for 20% while the duration of the ability, but you gain, so that's gone, and then you gain 30% movement speed for 4 seconds after the duration is completed. And last one is Hopelessness, which is the increased range of Drain Hope by 25%. So this used to be a old level 1 talent. This used to be an old level 13 talent. And I think this used to be a level 4 talent. So, if I had to choose what I want to do, since they nerfed the baseline healing here, I would probably go Willing Vessel. And now, for Leoric's heroic abilities, we have Entomb is now up to a 75-second cooldown. On live server, it is a 50-second cooldown. So that's pretty intense there. And next, March of the Black King actually got some pretty decent changes. So Leoric becomes unstoppable and walks forward, swinging his mace 3 times. Enemies yet take 548 damage. And let me double check, because I don't think it's changed too much. But I know the healing got increased. And the, let's see. So reduce the cooldown from 80 to 50 seconds. And then the mana cost is down. Damage increased by 183, from 183 to 250, so that's pretty good. And then the healing was increased from 7% to 12%. So those are some pretty noticeable changes. This will give Leoric more power in self-sustain when using this ability. I do think that March of the Black King will be useful against more melee-oriented teams, whereas Entomb is good for getting a pick on a singular, non-escape target, low mobility target. So for me, just because I'm comfortable with it, I would still pick Entomb, but there is a place and time to use March of the Black King now. I'll have to definitely play around with this to figure out where I want to put it. Next, we have, so this is where you're gonna start getting build variety and flavor into 13 through 16, well, even after 10. So this kind of gives you playstyle options. So at 13 we have Unyielding Despair. So this is a cooldown reduction on Drain Hope by 0.5 seconds for every 1 second of activation, and if the cooldown is if the Drain Hope lasts for its full duration, you have an additional 2 seconds. So it's a total of 4-second reduction. So you can get basically an extra cast of your Drain Hope. And then next, you have the Hardened Bones. So this is a new version of it. So before, the old one was when you would activate Wraith Walk, but now this is when you have your W up. You gain armor. And then Ominous Wrath. This is a changed version of Lingering Apparition. So instead of just increasing the duration of Wraith Walk, it gives you more utility. So enemies that come in contact with your Wraith deal 50% less damage for 4 seconds. That's pretty amazing. So this build is you would go 13 and 16 to do the new Royal Focus build. That's required if you're going to pick this talent, I think. I don't really see why you wouldn't want to do that. But all 3 of these talents, I think, have their time and place. If you want to do more sustain, I would go Hardened Bones. But if you're trying to do what was used to be meta Drain Hope build, you'd pick Unyielding Despair. But if you're just trying to go for sustain and a general build, I would say, you Hardened Bones here. And then at 16, we have Crushing Hope. So this is a more burst damage. So if Drain Hope lasts its full duration, it needs to deal 15% of the target's maximum health as damage, but you don't get healed by it. This is, I think, the same talent. Nothing's changed here. And now the new Royal Focus. So it does the same thing, where it increases the damage of your next Q within 5 seconds by 50%. But they added on for every hero hit by Skeletal Swing, you reduce the cooldown of Wraith Walk by 7 seconds. That's amazing, because if you at least hit 2 heroes, you automatically reset the cooldown of Wraith Walk, and that's why I would say go Ominous Wrath at 13 if you're going to pick this talent, because you will have basically a constant loop of Q, E, Q, E, Q, E to constantly be dealing bonus damage and reducing the enemy damage almost immediately. And then the last talent here is brand new, which is so cool. It's called Mithril Mace, and this is a attack speed bonus for Leoric and repeatable quest. So let me just toggle some minions. So if we look at Leoric's baseline auto attack stuff, he has the slowest attack speed I think in the game other than Stukov, which is 0.77. It's basically abysmal. So if you take this, you go to 0.92. Pretty good. And then once you cap this out, it goes all the way up to an amazing, I think 1.1 or something like that. It's awesome. And I just think this feels really cool for Leoric to be able to increase your lane clear. And it's just a really cool idea to synergize with his new lane clearing, or his auto attack mechanic as a hero. It just fits the style very well. As like this marching, wielding mace of death kind of like Sauron-esque character. It just makes it feel really cool. Overall, any of these talents does work pretty well, I would say. Mithril Mace is probably my favorite of the tier. And now, finally, level 20, we have arrived. They've done some really good changes, I think, to make this tier very competitive now, other than the go-to only being Spectral Leech. So now, the upgrades to your level, or to your ultimates, are awesome. Your Buried Alive is now a silence, but it lowers the duration by 1 second, so it's only 3 seconds, but you get this amazing silence, so you can trap that character that has the high mobility, and just deals so much more pick potential. And then Death March is the upgrade for March Your Black King, and this applies your Drain Hope to nearby enemies. The tooltip here actually isn't clarified, or the patch notes are incorrect. I don't know which one. I have to double check with this. But if I double check really quick, Death March, the attached Drain Hopes are now gain all talent bonuses. That's kind of crazy, because there's a lot of talents for Drain Hope. So that's 3 talents there. There's 2 talents here. So that's a total of like 6 talents total. They get the Drain Hope bonuses. That's a lot. Unless it's only ones that you've taken in your talent tree. Then that's not as crazy. But either way, that's really cool. And gives you even more sustain when using this ultimate now. Next is Spectral Leech. The only change here is that they reduced the, I think this is 5% on live, and then it only deals 2% max health and then heals you for the 5. So it just doesn't deal as much damage, but if you get Mithril Mace, Spectral Leech really is awesome, I believe, here. Because it just synergizes so well to be able to trade into those high health targets, and just dealing % health damage is really strong in general. Next, Leoric gets a Stylized Burning Rage. I really like this talent, and it actually is a really cool spell effect. I was playing around with it earlier. So if we turn it on, and then we toggle Mr. Arthas, where you at, little buddy? So if you can see now, you have it up. I really like the way this looks. And then when we apply it to a hero, it looks awesome. Alright, so this is what it looks like. So then when you apply it, it increases the damage bonus by 100%. So there's the area now. It just looks awesome. I think it also increases the area. Yeah, so it's damage and area. Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to that. So that's really cool. I think this is going to be a neat talent to use. And then also, significantly cooler, is Shroud of the Dead King. Alright, so this is the replacement for nullification, which was 75 armor. So if we use it, protected, nothing actually crazy about that. But that's 3 seconds of protection on a character that really doesn't need it. If you're playing Leoric right, you can sustain for a very long time. And then we can just use our march. So they did 830 damage for the 15% on Arthas. So yeah, this is Leoric, his new and improved form. I do want to mention that a lot of you, as you was reading online at least, many people didn't see that Leoric needed it. He's had a healthy showing in competitive. He was being played quite regularly. But the thing is as a warrior player, he didn't really fulfill the main, like a warrior type role. He was more of an off-soak hero. And so what these changes showed to me is they still keep the nature of the good lane clear warrior, but also incentivize him to be fighting in a lane and with his team a little bit more and giving him more options. Because his build diversity was definitely in question for a while now. It hasn't been very interactive or refreshed or anything like that. So I think these changes are very good, but I'd like to hear what you guys think about this. And so this is Leoric. So far, this is actually not the build I would go because I was just playing around with the reset talents, but I will show you that now. Alright everybody, so this is what I would do for my starter build for Leoric. Or at least what I would just looking at that's most similar to current live server. I don't know how good this one is going to be or how much this is going to actually work out on the live server, but this is just looking over the talents and getting a feel for the hero, what I would choose. Overall though, I'm gonna have to play around with this because I think he has a lot of different builds available to him, and so I can't wait to get in to try this build again and just have some fun with Leoric. I've always really enjoyed this hero and can't wait to try the new thing. It's really funny that when you have the mace, it has the spectral effect still. So everybody, thank you all for watching today. And let me know what you guys think of what Leoric's rework, or any of the reworks for that matter. I will get to them very soon. I just have had very little time with the start of the newest semester of school right now and all of the rest of life things. But that's no excuse. Either way, we will get to it as soon as everything goes live.